was thinking this morning, I had a revelation this morning, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I was thinking about religion. I thought back to when I was very religious, and things were working for me. And I thought, you know, I don't believe the same things I believed then. Why were they working for me then? And it hit me that all religions work if we're truly living what we believe. You know, and back then I was truly living what I believed, and I was being very vocal about it, and I was in that feeling place.
Yes.
And I was manifesting some wonderful things. And the reason I believe now was because I had my feelings involved in it. I had my whole life involved in it. I was living from my integrity at the time. If I lived that way today, I would be out of integrity because I don't believe the same things I believed back then.
Right.
It's all about if I'm living from integrity or not. And if I'm truly living from my beliefs, then I'm getting what I believe in. Now, if I want to change my beliefs, I think that's the question we're asking. If we want to start living more from integrity, then we need to live what we believe today. But always look for the growth.
Always look for the growth, yeah.
And that means changing our belief system, because we're not growing if we're still believing the same things we believed 10 years ago. I don't think.
Right.
I think our beliefs must change to grow.
Well, and I think we don't grow until the things that we believe in change. If I still believed the things that I did when I was 9, I would still be mentally 9.
Right.
And I do believe there are those that stay in that same mindset, and so they approach that life as that same person.
Right.
They just stop their growth.
Right.
You know, I think we get comfortable there.
We get comfortable, and I believe that there are some people and groups out there that try to keep us in that comfort place because it works better for them.
Well, it's so much easier for somebody to tell me what I need to think and how I need to do it.
Right.
Than it is for me to go out, try it, possibly get hurt, decide that that doesn't work, have to try something else. Truly living is a challenge. Simply because I'm going to reach things that might hurt me, and I'm going to see things that I may not agree with, and I'm going to open my eyes to things I may not care to see. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's how I figure out what works for me and what doesn't. You know, which path I can go down and which path I just can't go there anymore.
And the thing is, though, that no two paths are the same.
None.
And so we cannot. I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make, and I'm included in that, I made it for a lot of years, I cannot go through life depending on someone else's path and depending on them to tell me how to live my life and what's best for me.
Right.
I am the only one who knows what's best for me.
Yes.
And that's one thing I wanted my kids to learn is you're the only one that knows what's best for you. You know, I am here to offer guidance. You're the only one that knows what your desires are, what you enjoy doing, who you want to be when you grow up, what you want to be, those kind of things. That's up to you. This is your life, not mine.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I would be happy if you followed my footsteps, but I know my path is mine, and your path is yours, and yours is going to be totally different from mine.
Yeah.
No matter how close they may seem at some point, they will be totally different. Nobody has the same path. And if we're in a relationship, whether it's with one person or a group of people, that's holding us back from growth, then we need to get out and get out quick. You know, I allowed myself to stay in several relationships like that, not with just one person, but with groups as well, where I was not growing and I was miserable. But I believed I was where I was supposed to be at the time, and I allowed that to hold me back.
Sure. But you had to get to that point to decide this doesn't work for me anymore.
Exactly.
So it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right.
I too have done the same thing, you know, along my path. I've sat in a couple of places until I felt like, okay, this just doesn't work for me anymore. And sometimes I had to be evicted from it in order to figure out this doesn't work for me anymore. You know, I'd get so comfortable there that the rest of me just said, you know what, this isn't working. This isn't working. You got to get out of this.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if we are wishing in private and playing in public, then I think the universe decides, okay, I'll go middle of the road here. And we're either going to push you to wish in public and play in private.
Yep,
you know? So I think that's where it
forces you to take
where I get forced to decide where I'm at, to make a decision.
So, you know, I think after studying with Bob Proctor for a while, one of the things he really opened my eyes to through that study was that we must make decisions. I know you're going to laugh because you think I never make a decision on a lot of things. But
well, you don't make decisions on a lot of things, but it's okay.
We must make decisions because we can't live on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
You've got to make the decision. And once you make the decision, the universe conspires to help you, gets in behind you and pushes you forward.
Yes.
But we got to make decisions. And I when I first read that, I thought, oh, okay, it's talking about big decisions. Do I buy this house or not? Do I, get married or not? But the more I go, the more I realize it's the little decisions.
It's the little things.
The sooner you make a decision, the sooner you quit wasting time.
Yep.
The sooner you make a decision, the sooner you don't even think about the things outside of that decision.
And you don't carry it with you forever.
Right. And you got to close the loops. And when you have an open loop rolling around in your head, it
takes time and energy. It
right.
takes time and energy away from what you'd rather be doing.
Exactly.
So when Edwin says, you need to tell the truth and you need to tell it quickly, I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that. I think
Right.
that's the fastest way to get into and remain in integrity, is to tell the truth and tell it quickly. And I love how she gave the example of just, I'm sorry, I have another commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It is very blanket. It's very, the buck stops here kind of statement. I have another commitment. I don't have to go into what it is.
Right.
I don't have to explain any further.
Right. And along those same lines, the thing I'm learning too is that it's okay to say no and not justify it or give a reason for it. Just say, no, that doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Or no, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say that much. Just a no is fine. Mm-hmm. I wanted to back up just a little bit though because I have a question. So we're talking about making decisions and telling the truth and telling it quickly.
Yes.
But I think a lot of things come up where we don't know where we sit on that truth or that decision.
Yes.
And I think we need to take the time to make the decision, where do I fall on this? Mm-hmm. I've got some things going on right now that I'm really struggling with. Which side of the fence do I fall on here? And I don't think it's being out of integrity as it is just deciding, what do I believe about this right now? And where am I with this? And especially when it's decisions about, as we've talked about with the relationships and letting them go or not. When it's those kind of big decisions, I think we need to take some time.
Oh, absolutely.
And weigh what we're losing, what we're gaining, what's going on.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think you can rush the process of change. I think the process of change takes time. And I think it takes a time out sometimes to say, I don't really know where I sit on this. I'll get back to you.
Right. Or let me sleep on it.
Yeah.
I think those are good
Let me
answers.
pray about it.
Yeah. And then take the time to check in. I know I'm a slow processor, and when people hit me out of the blue, if I come up with an answer right away, sometimes I come up with the wrong one until I've had some time to sleep on it, and then sit in my quiet time and check it out with God and say, okay, where do I stand on this? Where should I stand at this point in my life?
So when she was talking about tell the truth and tell it quickly, I think we have to also judge where we're at with it. Like you said.
Right.
So I think once we judge where we're at, then there's no need to sit on it.
Right. Once we know the truth, then we need to tell it quickly.
And I think that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Once we know where we're
agree.
at and we have already formed our opinion on it, then there's no reason to beat around the bush.
Right.
It either works or it doesn't. I'm either here or I'm there. There's no reason for me to say, let me sit on it for a while, or give you an excuse so I can wait a while.
The key there, I think, too, is not to say, let me sit on it a while and then just put it out of your head.
Yeah.
You got to come to terms with it, or God's going to keep throwing it at you.
Yeah.
One or the other.
It's going to keep coming back at you.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Really good stuff.
I have another question before we end.
What?
We're almost done.
We are getting close to done, aren't
What
we?
are your plans for after this?
Wow.
Or do you have any?
I had decided, and now I am looking at that decision again. So that's going to be one that I'm going to have to get back on. I'm going to have to get back to you on it.
Not fair.
Well, no, seriously. You and I had discussed taking a break, and then I get introduced to something that's really exciting me, and But then there's other stuff coming up, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really going to
Fair
have
enough.
to weigh that before I can get back to you. But I will get back to you on that, truthfully and quickly.
Yeah, you're gonna have to because you've only got like 1 or 2 more videos in this book, so you're gonna have to get back to us soon.
I'll do that, and it'll be good stuff.
And it's good stuff.
Shreen.